Cool. Well, thanks for everyone for coming to join us on our virtual coffee. If you don't know who I am, I'm Ashley Cow. I'm one of the co-leads for SARE Ladies. And then here is joined by Anita, who is the lead for SARE Ladies. Anita, you want to say hello?
Good to see everyone. Hi, welcome. Yeah, I'd love to see your pretty faces. It's gonna be
Yes. If you
great.
want to show your face, I'm okay with that. And today is supposed to be super interactive. So just imagine we're at a meetup when we're standing in a circle and we're just chatting and, sharing notes and comments and stuff like that. So I really wanted to have some dialogue here. And so we are joined by Perry Zhang for the founder of Cashflow Portal. So Perry, I'm just gonna have you do a quick introduction of who you are and what your involvement in AI is, and then we can kind of kick it off.
Yes, hi everyone. Super happy to be here. I came from the tech background, so I was a syndicator, then became a startup YC back startup founder. Right now, our software touches on a bunch of AI related systems like underwriting, ER, creating a software for commercial real estate. So, using AI to draft your emails, using AI to underwrite monthly updates, investor relations, investment management portal. I have touched AI in all facets and have some scars along the way on what it is and what isn't. So that's kind of the when I was talking to Anita and Ashley, that was the premise of this talk.
Cool. Yeah, I think I mean we keep hearing about AI and how to use AI and all this stuff and all these different terms and tools and kind of noisy stuff. And so I really wanted to take today to just kind of go down to the basics and how do we use AI in real estate as investors. So hopefully this is the practical version and not the hype version. That's the goal of it. And so before we dive in, I do want to just kind of get a feel for who's in the room. So if you guys want to just drop into the chat, like, what type of investor you are, like if there's a certain asset class that you're focused on, would love to kind of see what people are working on. And then that way we can kind of try to frame some of the conversations to the topics and the asset classes that you guys are most interested in.
Mhm.
Feel free to drop it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and just introduce yourself and share with us what's your asset classes. All right, Millie's into Burr, remote investor, single family. What else we got? Personally, I do short-term rentals. I also do multifamily, and then long-term rentals as well. Sam looks like does multifamily and land development, which is very cool. Dat
Mhm.
does multifamily and retail. STRs, nail salons, very cool, and coffee shops.
Very cool.
Nice.
Are any of you agents or just investors or investors? Very good. And then are you guys also doing syndications or buying it on your own? Like mostly is it syndications, mostly on your own? On my
Okay.
own. So Millie
On
is
your
on the
own.
own.
We
Okay.
got a couple agents.
Okay. So Sam
Okay.
is syndicating. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. So we have a whole mix. But I see quite a bit of multifamily. I see some short-term rentals. I see some long-term rentals. So that's all good. So it's very real estate. Very good. Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I guess maybe we can just jump into just like the AI 101,
Hmm.
just kind of give us if somebody's new to AI and really wants to understand like what do I need to know like as a foundation and then kind of what are some of the terms that we should know before jumping into like AI tools and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing of this talk, and I'm gonna keep it super casual. Folks can, unmute yourself and speak up. And I want this to be useful for you. Um, but I was thinking about what's the theme for this talk, and the thing, from my end is, um, don't be afraid of AI. AI is not going to replace what you are good at. AI is only going to amplify it. And there are a lot of scareness about like, oh, I need to adopt AI, otherwise I'm behind. Um, I'm talking about someone like me who's been adopting AI for the last 4 years. I'm still not ahead. So don't be afraid of AI. AI is not going to replace anything. There's so much like fluff and marketing around AI, like, oh, it can do this XYZ. But I think underneath the hood, it actually is just as about the same as if you are doing something on your own. It might be certain things is a little bit faster, but most of the time it's just exactly the same. So in terms of like the terminologies, I will use some of these terms. So one, when you talk about AI, that's the algorithm. When you talk about interface like ChatGPT, that's the interface that you taught to it. There's a people talk about AI agent, and so that's already into the second level. I don't think you need to use AI agents. AI agents, all it is that is something that can create a workflow or do things when you're not paying attention. So it's like act on its own. It has an input and it has an output, and the output could be like click a button as an example, or they will go to a leads website like your wholesaler's website, and it will download that attachment, and then it will open it and it will like save it to your file. That's an agent, but that agent is the most like charter Wild West. It could delete all your messages if you're not careful. So don't go into the agent. If you're like, oh man, everyone's using agents, I'm not. I'm here to tell you, don't worry too much about it. I'm not using agents either. I try, and so it didn't exactly work the way you intended to work. And then there is, if you go into the agent level, there's the MCP server, which is like how agents talk to each other. So like most of us are here just like using it to phrase our emails, to write better, marketing campaigns, to organize agenda items. And then there are people up here that's like trying to like automate their entire life. And I have an analogy that if you're not a software engineer, don't feel like you're missing out by not doing this top part. Um, there is a there is an analogy that I like to compare that um, when electricity got invented and when refrigeration got invented, like the refrigerator got invented, the people who got rich are not the people selling refrigerators. Uh, the people who got rich are the people selling Coca-Cola because the refrigerator makes the Coca-Cola taste better. So focus on what you can make money off that, as opposed to like, how can I contribute to like this refrigerator evolution. And there are too many people right now trying to be like, hey, I have a refrigerator that can like you can put it in your room, and then look at this, it will like it's a mini refrigerator. Like people selling courses online about like, hey, we can automate your everything. They're selling a refrigerator. But what is it that you can do that's more like Coca-Cola? They never know that's because the refrigerator that make it really, really good, but you're selling Coca-Cola. So to me, a real estate investor should be focused on like, how can I make my listings prettier and more authentic? How can I make more offers? And how can I underwrite more? How can I keep track of all my invoices and receipts so I cut down on my CPA time? And how can I like run my backend long-term rentals business like a machine? And you might want to automate all of that using AI. I have a few rentals, but till this day, I still unfortunately have I still have a property management company to manage all my assets, as opposed to using AI to automate them. So if you feel like you're behind by not doing that, I don't think that's the case. You are just doing fine. Yeah, so that's a short blurb on that, but happy to, actually you can, anyone has any more questions on that.
I just have a question on more so there's obviously a whole bunch of names flying around like OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, all these different like um interfaces, right? And so what is there one that is better than the other for different applications and stuff like that? And how do we figure that out?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at my phone, I have ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini installed on my home screen. So this is so stupid. Um, ChatGPT apparently is the best for transcribing my voice. If you use Claude and Gemini, it doesn't really transcribe my voice that well. I think Gemini is transcribing as I speak, but OpenAI, ChatGPT is transcribing after I say everything, and then they think and then put them into coherent sentences. So literally what I do is I transcribe because I like to tell them using my voice, tell OpenAI what I want, and I literally copy and paste what they transcribe. Go to Gemini, copy and paste that, and then go to Claude and copy paste that. From my experience, my limited experience, um, I don't think Claude was that good. That's my opinion. Gemini is really good with certain things, and in my opinion, OpenAI is still the best. Now, one of our engineers is actually here because they are working on our underwriting software, and we had a choice of defaulting to Claude for our backend wrapper or defaulting to OpenAI, and we chose OpenAI. You see on LinkedIn right now, so many people love cloud, da da da, cursor, everything, right? But it's a marketing thing. They claim that they can solve all kinds of encryption problems, da da da. Who has been hacked? So like this is why there's so much hype. And then it's just we are in the like ground floor trying to leverage AI, and I can show you a couple examples how AI just fails miserably across the board. But for now, my personal use is I transcribe. I ask my personal questions, and it's sometimes about the vision of the company and like what's our next strategy. How do I prepare for XYZ? Using the same way that you guys are probably using it right now, which is to synthesize information, get me some insights, but not really anything for production use. There's another point I want to make on that, which is OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Claude. Sorry, OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini, and all these, they are called frontier models. They are a generalist model, meaning that they take information from all industries and they come up with a that's called a frontier model. There are AI companies that believe that like if you have specialized data, you can create vertical models or domain specific models. So for example, Harvey and Lagora, they are like legal firms. They say, I'm gonna take all my clients' data, I'm gonna synthesize it, I'm gonna create my mini AI that is a vertical model, and that's going to do better than a frontier model such as ChatGPT. And if you look at LinkedIn, they fail miserably. So don't like there is this concept of like if I have enough data, I can create my own mini AI. The thing is the data right now to train AI, human data is actually minuscule compared to machine data. So no matter how much data you actually have, is minuscule to the data needed to train the AI. So frontier models will just dominate the vertical models. So then like all these like Harvey, like even like we try to do an underwriting software. Honestly, we are just a wrapper on the ChatGPT. So like what's our value? What's our value proposition to is the workflow, is like the system of record. And so the best way I would say is um, you guys are using the best tools. You guys are really using the best tools. It's such a high consumer surplus right now for the people that are using OpenAI. Um, like, I'm not saying this in a self-interest way. I'm saying it because this is what I end up like finding myself.
So I want to make sure I understood that. So are we
Mhm.
saying that like, or I guess from your perspective, like in any application, you've seen ChatGPT perform better than Claude or whatnot?
In almost every application, we have seen ChatGPT does a better job, does a better response. Only in certain very specific things, sometimes Claude does better. So, um, so like people say, oh, Claude is better in mathematical functions and da da da. that might be true in their specific domain, in their demos, but when we call the APIs, it's not always true.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And we used to have Claude to parse like PDF to CSV conversion, and we used to use Claude, and then it doesn't like we keep finding problems. So then we try like a different model using ChatGPT and it actually work better. And so like you know, so the models also keep always changing. They also get cheaper. And so Claude has a tendency to also make the older models like less efficient and like just less good. So you upgrade to a higher model. Um, yeah, so that's what I will say. I will also say that if like what's the best way to put it? If you are not an engineer, so what's going on right now in the AI world is a either a agriculture revolution or industrial revolution, one of those like big revolutions, right? When the agriculture revolution happened, um, people who used to be farmers, they are like really, really happy. They're like, okay, I can produce more with less because of the machinery. But if you're never farmers to begin with, you should not go into farming at that time. And so that's to say, with the AI revolution now, and the people are like, oh, now I can do more. Let me get into coding. Let me try to create a whole business on like this. Like I have seen a lot of times people who like exit the multifamily industry and they're like, oh, I have a AI company now that can scan your receipts. And like, do you any need invoicing like SaaS product? When I hear that, I'm just like, I can go back and create that tomorrow, right? Like that does not constitute a business. And so do something you're really good at. And just because you couldn't do that before and now you could do it with the tools, just note that your competition is even bigger. Like now the people who are good at it can absolutely do that and more. So it's actually not the right term. If you're not technical, it's actually not a good idea to enter the industry now. Um, if I'm not saying that's to scare anyone, but we have seen, one of my best friends, they are a principal engineer at staff engineer at DoorDash and so on. Um, and um, they literally like can own like six agents working simultaneously coding for them. Um, So like that's because they were a really, really good engineers to begin with. And so even though a non-technical person can do more, um, going back to the Coca-Cola example, don't focus on the refrigerator. Focus on what the refrigerator makes that thing shine and sell that thing instead. Um,
Cool. I do want to take a pause here to see if anyone has any questions on just kind of what Perry has gone through so far.
yeah, happy to answer any questions or give you some examples or and just thank you for spending the time here, but I want you guys to walk away with some value and some take-home action items.
Cool. And you can always drop it in the chat.
Mhm.
Um, so maybe we can move on to just this is your turf is like AI in underwriting. And so would love to just kind of talk about, um, I think, you're working on your own prop tech and working on your own technology for underwriting and trying to make it more efficient and everything like that. So can you talk through that and just kind of what you're seeing as the current state of AI and underwriting?
Yeah. Um, I think right now if I have to summarize underwriting, which is the first step towards acquiring a asset, there's the single family underwriting and then there's the multifamily underwriting. And then there's the underwriting in which you are buying it on your own, and then there's the underwriting you have to share the profits with your investors, right? Um, it is the first step. The deal flow is not that huge, and it's always a painful process. There's no single platform that really dominate that area. People are still hesitant about like, okay, is this really better than my spreadsheet? And that's because the amount of time that you use to checking the AI's results is actually more time than you spend just doing it on your own. So just a little bit of my background. My business partner and I started doing single families in 2016. I ended up buying 7 single families, and then a few into it, I start buying multifamily. So very first indication, 172 units apartment complex, end up raising money for that. Um, and then the second one, 408 units and 236 units and then 208 units. So more than 1,000 units as a lead sponsor, raised 25 million personally, and that's how the prop tech company started. So been there, done that. And for the multifamily underwritings, my business partner and I have done more than 500 multifamily deals across all of Texas. We have gone through every single spreadsheet, Lone Star Capital, Michael Blanc, Brad Sumrock, you name it. We create our own spreadsheet. We create different tabs of that spreadsheet. And I always thought this could be easier. This could be easier. The same way I thought that investor relations could be easier, which is true. But honestly, like investor relations, you think that's a really hard problem, but that's actually easy to solve. And underwriting, that's actually really, really hard problem. Um, because every rent roll looks different. Like every T12 looks different. Sometimes they're not even written. They're like hand scribbled. The data could be garbage. Like trash, is pet control, is pet fees part of contract services or repairs and maintenance or which one? I don't know. Nobody knows. And it's actually not correct data to begin with. So in order to do right syndication, you have to assume, right underwriting, you have to assume that everyone is working perfectly well, which is never true in real life. And so, like, the short answer is people have attempted to use AI for underwriting. It is a little bit faster, but we have not crossed that line right now that it is definitely faster and it is better. So I can give a quick example on like how AI really just fails miserably. So let me share my screen here. Oh yeah. So before that, let me share my screen, and then I can show you a quick video about this point. Do. Okay, cool. So before I share about my AI, I prepared this video not for me, but I don't know if you guys can hear them. Okay, let me play, and if you can not hear them, let me know. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. This is about I do full screen. Okay, let me see.
Will AI kill SaaS? Which has
Can you hear
been the
them?
big question for the last couple of years since ChatGPT came out. It's like everyone's just gonna like it's gonna become so smart now, it's so soon that like you're never even gonna like need any SaaS. Like you just like talk to it or like it's just super intelligence and it's like there's all this stuff. And my point has been look at the data of how it's like how quickly it's improving and like how much it's improving per step. It seems to me to be doing the opposite of what all these AI doomers are talking about. Like all the AI doomers are talking about, like, oh, this sort of idea of FOOM or like it's sort of exponential takeoff, and like it'll soon be like so smart that we'll be like ants to it. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, but that's not what the data shows. The data shows looks to be reaching some kind of asymptote. Like this asymptote can be very high, but it still, to me, seems like each new model that comes out, whether it's from ChatGPT or Google or Grok or whatever, it seems to be an improvement, but it's a smaller improvement, it's a smaller step up than the last one. And I think ChatGPT 5 just confirmed that view in me, and that look like this is something that, yeah, is an extremely disruptive thing to technology. There's a lot of stuff here that is disruptive, it's different, it's capable in a way that, it's obviously a very new, very capable technology, but do I think we're going to be amped to it in 2 years? Do I think we need to bomb data centers because otherwise, like humanity is ended because of ChatGPT 7? Like, no. I mean, that's bullshit. It always was bullshit.
Yep. So that's what I believe. I hope that gives you some solace. Okay. All right. All right. Let me show you why even ChatGPT, this is a few months ago, but okay, I'm here. Okay. So this is a recent deal that my real estate business partner has been underwriting. So this is March 22nd, 2026. So I'm gonna download this rent roll. I think this is it. Gonna download this rent roll. Okay. And then I'm gonna go into ChatGPT and then I'm gonna upload this rent roll. So there's this one. Okay, so could you, I am underwriting a multi-family deal. Could you create the unit mix out of this rent roll, right? So like what you may do for those, you might actually like create a ChatGPT prompt, and then you like automatically, parse your rent roll, da da da. And that's what people would write on LinkedIn. Well, first I'm like unable to display visualization. Okay, cool. That's cool. Done that. Now that's cool. So this is a typical way of underwriting, right? Like they're reading the spreadsheet, they're listing the files, and so I need to process this Excel. And so, okay, I can use pandas or open. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And sometimes what I do, I ask the same question in Gemini and ask the same question in Claude, and they're taking a closer look. Okay, so that's now, even if you can do it, just so you know, right now this is a transient movement, meaning they don't store your data, and if you want to reference back, there's no more, like you cannot ask them more questions and so on. And then do you imagine create a thread for every single deal, so it doesn't exactly integrate with your spreadsheet. So there's already some kind of inefficiencies, as you can see. Okay, so they can do artifacts, can Python. I think this has some other troubles. Maybe, okay, I think I need to download this, delete this one, and then I'm gonna download this Excel one more time. Okay, okay, wait for it. Okay, cool. So that's that. Looking for. I think it couldn't even parse the Excel file for now. So let's wait for it. Do. While that's going on, I'm gonna.
AI kill SaaS, which has been a big
Oh,
question
oops.
for the last.
Cool. Let me pause that. So this is they are trying different models. They could not open it, but I think that's my problem. That's not their problem. So I'm gonna drag and drop this again, and then I say same question. Do this. And then, like, if you guys are running into this kind of issues in your world of using AI, you can like put in the chat, like, am I running into this? Like, do I look stupid? Because this is exactly what happens every time I try to use it. Let me open this thing, and then I'm just gonna download this thing. Okay, just gonna download, file, import, download Excel. I'm gonna download this thing, and then it used to be that at least ChatGPT can do it. Now they cannot even parse it. So I'm gonna try this one more time. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna do this one more time. Unable to this.
This is probably a newbie question, but um there's a way for you to connect. Like I've worked in it a little bit, but Claude and Excel, for example.
Yes.
So can you do that with ChatGPT, or is that not a function that's available?
Not that I know of, to be honest.
Okay.
I have not tried it that much. So I'm gonna take the same thing and then ask Claude about it. Okay. So there's that.
Is there a reason why it's like you can't do that with all platforms?
I think thank you for saying that. So the reason you cannot do that with all platforms is simply the way you look at these things is uh, Claw is the interface that you talk to, and like Sonnet, so there
The
are
models. Yeah.
different models, right?
Mhm.
And the Excel integration is not a model. Excel integration is a product. And ChatGPT just hasn't launched a very wide mainstream Excel plugin. So it's not, they have the model, they just haven't worked in the product and make a big deal out of it.
Mm.
So they probably have it and they probably works decently well. It's just that it's not. Anthropic is really good at that marketing. Just to so it's a product that they haven't made mainstream yet. Barbara, you were going to ask a question?
Yeah, I was just going to offer a suggestion. So it's having trouble reading your Excel file. It looks like your Excel file is in a nice format. You can just take a screenshot and dump that, copy and paste that into ChatGPT. Um, you could
Yeah,
try doing it in Claude, but I mean, you're already in ChatGPT.
right,
Uh,
right, right. Yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna try this one more because if I were to take a screenshot, it has multiple sheets, like multiple, like I need to scroll down, so that may not work. So let me try this one, and then let me
oh,
try the
okay.
screenshot. Yeah. So because we are trying to underwrite a a 400 plus unit, right? And it has like multiple like columns. Yeah. So there's that. So there's that information.
Yep.
But um. Quick fix save as Excel. Okay, let me just do download, and then it is correct. Yeah. So anyway, but earlier, okay, so there is this one done. Yay, clean up. Great. Okay, now okay, cool. So this is the unit mix. This is good. Let me open this one. So this is A1C, a B1C. This is actually pretty good. Let me compare this one. So this is 850 occupancy square footage market rent. Yeah, this is actually pretty good. So you have all these units, and then if you compare this against the financials here, this is the financials. I think it's offering memorandum because this one is the 158 units built in 19 something. Cool. So in this very case, it did a pretty decent job because the last time I tried it, it was giving me 160 units based on this rent roll. And now it's pretty smart that it's 158 units. So pretty impressive. Um, yeah, so that's pretty good. So I am actually impressed after 4 minutes of thinking about for 4 minutes. This like, and I did this actually with Ashley and Anita earlier this week, and then it was like writing something different, and then you can see like 3 days later they somehow like fix it. I will also say if I put this in again, it might be a little bit inconsistent.
Mm.
I think that's type of things that we run into all the time, which is if we even with the same input, the output could be very, very different. And the problem though is now you need to check if this unit mix is actually correct. And checking for unit mix whether that's correct, if you couldn't trust the data, then it takes more work sometimes than to just like do it on your own. So what I had to do now, I had to open up the offering memorandum, and then I need to double check on certain things. So this is my offering memorandum. This is the 158 units. So A1C should be 24 units. B1C is 5 units. B2C is 20 units. B2, yeah, 7 units. Yeah. And then 20, and then 2, 4, yeah, 2, 3, 35 units, 7 units, 23 units, 1 to 1. Yeah, that's actually really, really good.
So I guess, I mean, that's actually
Mhm.
interesting because I was like, oh, it didn't do the same thing that we saw earlier in the week. So I guess my question would be like, where is AI strong in the underwriting process, and then where is it still like unreliable?
It's drawn in um it's the thing is if something is not deterministic, even when it's reliable, you think it's not reliable. Like it's accurate sometimes, it's accurate maybe 80% of the time, but you don't know when it's not accurate, right? And then the question is like what financial and economic state do you have that depends on it?
Mm.
So there's a saying that you will never use uh OpenAI or Claude for like double entry accounting. I read some articles, some LinkedIn posts on that because if you do it wrong, then it could be really, really bad. You could use it to summarize data and give you some insights. And usually those generalizations are correct. Like, hey, you have a lot of churn in this month. And then when you look into the data, it's usually correct. So patterns, it's always right. When it needs precision, it's almost never exactly right. If you
Yeah,
want to see the direction, it's always right. Yeah, go ahead.
I
Yeah.
think that's something that I read is like it said like Google actually published that Gemini is like 90% accurate, which is like great. But if you think through like how many prompts it gets like every single day, that means that 10% is like millions of responses, right? Like, and you don't know which one is right and which one is wrong. And that's a little bit scary if you're basically not verifying that, and then you may spend more time trying to figure out which one's right or wrong. So
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So
Uh,
maybe it's like a experiment but verify, or not even trust but verify, but it's like experiment and verify and go from there. So
yep. Um, I mentioned this before. The way I think about AI right now is, um, think of this as like Amazon package delivery, right? Like you have the pickup from the warehouse, and then they will ship like across the country, and then there's a last mile delivery, right? And then the bulk of the work right now is done by AI, and that the last mile is checked by the human. The problem is sometimes the last mile is as far as the bulk of the journey. And that's the current problem now. Um, the question is, how can you reduce that last mile? How could AI get much, much better so that you don't have to do as much checking? In my opinion, as at least in terms of mathematics, um, it's still not that close. And you can dig into the research and like how this is getting built and so on. Um, it's not really based on any kind of mathematical equation. It's all pattern matching. So you couldn't go from a pattern matching foundation to being precision driven like results. So I don't know. I think something has to change dramatically for AI to be 99.99% accurate. And that will be the thing I will say it's really hard to get AI to do precise work. Now, what are some things that you guys have really like used AI for good? For example, the things that are really helpful will be, you know, if you download all your T12s, download all your rent rolls across all your single family portfolio or your multifamily portfolio, you upload it and then you just ask them, hey, can you give me any insights? That is a kind of a dumping a bunch of data to it and then tell them and let them tell you just like some interesting data and then ask them a bunch of questions. Directionally, it's almost always accurate. But to me, that's really good for strategy and that's really good for forming your next steps. What's the one thing you can do to move the business in a forward motion? I did that with we are going to do that with our own business. So in when I was in a founder conference for SaaS startups, one of the founders connect all their payments accounts and all of their database to a company called Dashbase. The company is called Dashbase. Dashbase. I think this one. Dashbase right here. Dashbase.ai. And you can ask them some very, very interesting questions of uh, like, um, like I think this may not be it. It's a base dash. So basically, you can ask them like, "Hey, how likely are people to churn?" And you can ask your ChatGPT, "Tell me about my tenant profile and what I can do to improve the leasing activities based on what you see." So that kind of thing is really, really helpful. But when it needs precision, I have seen that it fails pretty miserably. So there's that. All right, let's see if you folks have any more questions here. Okay.
I think we got some interesting comments on what people are seeing when they're prompting and how they approach, underwriting and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Barbara say, developing a specialized GPT for underwriting that's strictly grounded vetted reference material and then use cross leveraging other LLMs to define blind spots. Got it. I see. Yeah, I
Basically,
like
it
it.
just eliminate or reduces the hallucinations if you just strictly have the GPT use the information that you are uploading. Um, and then you can improve on your prompt by taking that prompt and having other LLMs like Claude or Gemini or Perplexity improve the logic.
Got it. So, Barbara, question for you. Are you then saving it directly to your Excel or that it just gives you some numbers and then you copy paste it into your Excel?
You can tell the um, you could tell the GPT what output you format that you prefer. So if it's not a lot of rows, then you can just have it simply in the chat.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
if you are expecting a lot of rows, like probably for your analysis, then you would say, put the put it in a spreadsheet, or you can even if your Google Drive is connected, you can have it put create a new sheet in your Google Drive, and it'll put all the output there.
Got it. Got it. And then how often do you have to check the data and then change the data because, or you find out that there is an error like a few iterations downstream. Like you thought it's
Well,
correct and then you keep going and then you find out, oh, the number of units is not correct or some rents is actually not correct based on the output.
so here's the thing with AI or even humans, we're not always going to be 100% correct all the time. So I always say, the 80/20 rule, AI is going to get you 80% there. It's going to take the 20% to have a human in the loop to verify and validate.
Mm, got it. Now, are you doing like multi-families or single families?
I'm actually not investing right now,
Yeah,
but I create custom GPTs all day for various business units and use cases.
got it, got it. I see. Yeah, I see. Yeah. Um, that's very helpful. Got it. Cool. Yep. All right. So thank you for so much for all these questions here. Um, so let's see. I think we have a few agenda items on the map here. I think what we can do is actually, if you have more questions, go for them. And then I do want to spend some time here to do a quick pitch for our underwriting tool to see how that's um, leveraging the AI. Again, we are not recreating our model. We are not trying to be a frontier model, but we are leveraging that and then combining it with the actual model. And then you can see that the railroad that you upgraded gets translated automatically to the spreadsheet, and then you can go back and forth between them.
Yeah. If anyone has any other questions, I have tons of questions, but I won't ask all of them. But maybe we can talk a little bit about before you jump into it, just
Hmm.
kind of aside from underwriting, and we kind of touched on this earlier, but like either you, Perry, or anyone else here in the Zoom call, like what are you guys using AI for? Aside from, maybe rephrasing emails and stuff like that, I'd be curious to hear what other like useful applications there are that have been successful or are making your life more efficient and stuff.
Anyone want to chime in first? I can talk a little bit about kind of how our customers are using them, and then if you folks have any ideas, you can chime in. Again, this we try to be make this open flow. So our customers are mostly GPs. They have so this is for syndicators, whether that's multifamily, short-term rentals, so on. They care about information of their investors. So they want to be like, hey, I'm visiting Dallas, going to X conference. Who are my investors that are in Dallas that I can hit up? Now they can say, well, I can technically get that information from my HubSpot or my CRM, but it will be nice if I can just connect my ChatGPT to my CRM so I can ask these questions and output a number. And then I can do all kinds of automations afterwards to save it on my email. And then I can say for all these people, go ahead and send them an email so that like tell them that I'll be in Dallas, May, whatever, and then we can get coffee. So that's one, which is hydration of their investor data. Send them birthday cards. Tell them that I'll be in the city, and getting better with investor relations. What I have not seen the syndicators do is replace investor relations for now. I have also never seen them replace the sales funnel. Like if they want to ask the GP a question about the deal, they will never like put an AI agent, AI avatar on that call. The sales has not been replaced by AI. Now for the other syndicators, like they are a co-sponsor on a deal, they get a newsletter from another big GP. So they are co-sponsor on that, but they are using our investor portal. So they'll get a email, and they have a open claw machine. They have a Mac Mini, and they open up our portal. They log in, they copy and paste that HTML, and they create an email out of that automatically. But they need to be sure that they don't send out that email without their approval. So there's the whole work, and then there's the last mile thing in which they verify the email before sending it out. This is someone that has like built multiple townhouses, very, very, technical, and they love OpenClaw. We have seen within the long-term rental space that folks try to use OpenClaw or other APIs to post on Craigslist, but usually not successfully because they block you really, really quickly. They also try to post on like Facebook Marketplace for leasing activities. It's also really, really difficult. So we have seen some of that, but it has not become mainstream. And the thing about those is that it cannot become mainstream because if it does become mainstream, the platforms will just block you. They will not allow you to like basically interact with their platform without genuine intention. So there's that. With the short-term rentals with Airbnb, I think there are all kinds of apps now that do something like that. And a lot of kind of like check in, check out. It's honestly, there are a lot of apps that already like have open access to Airbnb and different platforms to respond in AI. So there's that. But multifamily is what I specialize in, and I'm very excited to read what folks put in here. So Sean said, Sean, do you want to just speak? Oh,
Nope.
okay, no problem. So
Mhm.
Sean said, I run two automated workflows to stay ahead of deal flow and market shifts. The first scans my email daily and produce a triage report, prioritizing relevant opportunity, flagging inconsistent, and filtering out the noise so I can focus on actionable deals. The second monitors the market more broadly, pulling in transactions, regulatory updates, and entitlement activity. It services signal ahead so as to publish relevant insights to my site after review. Wait, so Sean, are you a real estate agent? Commercial agent. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Cool. So yeah, so you have an agent that reads through your emails, produces a triage report, and then it flag all kinds of inconsistencies. Um, got it. So these are the deals that are coming to you from the sellers. Yeah, because if you are a GP, for example, and you try to get these commercial deals, um, I don't know if anyone has figured out a way to be like, hey, I'm gonna like click on this email, go to that, type in my email address, and then automatically open up a NDA form, sign it, download it, put it into my Google Drive folder. I don't know anyone has done that. If you do that, I would love to know, honestly, because yeah, so there's that. But yeah, Sean is outsource off-market deals for investors, so it tracks correspondence between me and my clients. Very cool. I like that. Yeah, anyone else?
So it looks like Will and Anita use AI to I don't know, augment their real estate workflow. So synthesizing investor updates, asset management, financial analysis, data visualization. Cool.
Mm.
And then Cal, yes, a recording will be sent out, so you'll get the full episode.
Think so. Anita and I kind of, I mean, at least I subscribe to crawl, walk, run kind of phase of it. So I think Perry said something similar, which was around like AI is good at certain things. I think it's not necessarily good on creating like understanding what is your workflow, like what is your business, like what are you kind of good at. So I think that's kind of where right now, like we're injecting into different parts of our process, but we don't automate like every aspect of it. So it's like semi-automated. So
I think I heard a term where it's like treat AI as your co-pilot, not your autopilot.
Mm.
And it's like, you need to have the HI with the AI, the human intelligence with the artificial
HI.
intelligence.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can jump into your demonstration, Perry, and just kind of show some of the things that you work on.
Yeah.
Uh, and then,
Yeah.
yeah, and then
Absolutely. So
Perry,
I
Kelsey,
can,
feel free to drop more questions, comments. I like seeing them. So,
yeah, absolutely draw more questions. Um, so what we have created is um, a underwriting software that leverages AI for the purpose of multifamily syndication and single families and short-term rentals and basically a lot of real estate underwritings. So the first thing you come in here is that you can upload a OM, your rent roll, and your T12. You can also upload other documents like your appraisal report, any kind of due diligence report, and you will take these documents and treat it as almost as a Google Drive. You guys can all see my screen, right? Good. Okay. So once that's parsed, we the asset gets automatically filled in. We extract all the photos from the OM. That's automatically. There's nothing AI about it. We can extract photos from the OM, and then we parse them into the uh, correct categories. Then you can see the the address gets put in, then the asset gets put in. Things such as number of units, which is 158 units here, 158 units. How many parcels, density, net rental, number of stories, any kind of roof construction, wire, HVAC that gets put in. And the goal is that you can easily create a pitch deck out of it. So that is the parsing of the rent roll and the T12. Now, underneath the hood, we use a very, very similar strategy as what that Vu mentioned, which is we use multiple models to check the data against each other. But we don't have a model ourselves. And so the result is if you look at, say, the unit mix, we fetch the unit mix. This is 158 units. These are the unit types. And then this is the rent. This is the pro forma rent. And this is the price per square foot and so on. Now here, it is also a spreadsheet. So it's a spreadsheet embedded onto the software. You can set the rent to be monthly, weekly, yearly, or daily. So for example, you may have a house hacking property renting by rooms. Well, in that case, each unit type is just each room. And because you have 5 rooms, you have 5 unit types, or you have 5 rooms of the same unit type. So they can all represented by unit types. So this could be work for house hacking or could work for short-term rentals. Some of these, maybe this is a multifamily deal, but some units you are out of say 150 units, you want to allocate 5 of them for short-term rentals. You simply change this frequency to be that I'm actually renting it on a daily basis. And this particular unit type has a higher vacancy, a physical vacancy, because they are short-term rentals that have a higher vacancy than anyone else. So this is a spreadsheet that you can that's embedded directly. Now, the reason that this is basically what we have achieved is the combination of a intelligent uploader. So you can upload it with fetch. This is your Excel. And so if you see any data that is wrong, you can just update it and then automatically changes. You see all the unit types that's being parsed. You see all the insights. So you can see when the leases end, how many units of each unit type, and when the leases end. Then it has the full underwriting model. So this is the first year, this is the second year, all the projections throughout. And then you can say every year I'm going to increase my rent by 3%, 4%, and so on. What's more, the reason say, why do I use this as opposed to my spreadsheet? Most of the reason that folks use this is that when it comes to waterfalls, it gets more complicated. So if you do have a syndication, you will have LPs, and the profit sharing is where the spreadsheet usually messed up. Let's say you have a profit sharing that's an 80-20. So you have to model when the when during the asset management phase, it's an 80-20 split between you and the LPs. But then when you sell, you give 100% of the money back and an 80-20 split. But if you want to have different kinds of waterfall, like a preferred return, of if you have a mezzanine debt, or you have a preferred partner, or you have multiple LP classes, that's where it gets pretty complicated. And what we created is a distribution engine that allows you to allocate across the different classes. So here I have an LP and GP class, but what if I have like a preferred return partner? So I can do a preferred return with a preferred return partner waterfall, and you can see my IRR changes, my cash and cash changes. And then that, in this case, it gets pretty complicated. It's like, give my preferred equity 100% of the money back, then let them achieve the 12% cash and cash. Then the LP gets 100% of the money back, then 70-30 split until a 15% IRR, then a 50-50 split. As soon as you change that, if you go into the pitch deck and you look at the sensitivity analysis, this will be automatically filled in. So this discharge will automatically be filled in, and you can do your webinar with, basically you can export your webinar, and the waterfall gets automatically filled in. So it's what we have noticed is that AI can do the basic translation. What it doesn't do is the end-to-end workflow. And a lot of times you ask AI to do something, it does it kind of well. You create a bunch of like internal prompts, but then it doesn't get back into like the next iteration. Let's say, so and so come back and negotiate on this deal, and you want to know, okay, because the price is this now, what is the best way I can structure my deal? It needs all of the data one more time to get you the right answer. Okay. So that's that. And then the last thing I want to quickly show you guys is, let's say if I come into here, I go to property. Right now it's a 10.5 million, and you can ask it like, what's my current IRR, and what is my purchase price is 11 million instead. Okay, so could you update my purchase price to 11 million? So you can see right now the purchase price is 10.5, and then for the first time it can write to the model. So you can say, hey, go ahead and update it to 11 billion. You should see that this changes to 11 billion, and then the IRR changes to 23%. So it says your current IRR is 26.15, but when the purchase price is 11, the IRR now is 23.39, and then the purchase price has been now updated to 11 billion. And so effectively achieve this dual direction between the spreadsheet and all the documents that you have uploaded. Now you say, why is this better, quote unquote, and why is it like if OpenAI connect with my spreadsheet already, if Claude already connect with my spreadsheet already, why is this better? Well, it's it's better because this sensitivity analysis, let me give you an example, is actually mathematically calculated. There's nothing AI about this chart. Whereas if you ask Claude that, like you can ask Claude to generate a sensitivity analysis for you, but it will give you a bunch of numbers. And you're just like, is this number correct or is this number not correct? Because you have no idea if they did the math or they don't do the math. Here actually runs through a waterfall. So we are saying that some things require, some things AI is good at, which is directionally, interpretation, insight, but leave the math to math. Like let Excel do the math. And so there's that. And then the second thing I do believe that it is better is that when it comes to your webinar deck and the webinar deck and the things that you need for the future, like you save all these artifacts by the time you do a webinar or when you are asset managing. So like you raise the money, again, this is really within the realm of like raising money. You project right now 23% IRR. I think that's a little bit too high. So maybe make it a little bit lower. You project 23% IRR and you project 13% cash and cash. Very, very good numbers. 2 months into the operation, what do you have to do to make sure that you actually could achieve 13% cash and cash that year? 2 months into it, are you overspending on like CapEx budget? Are you underspending? Nobody knows. And so what I did my deal was actually I did this. This is back in the day. So this is what I did. Every week I have a separate spreadsheet that I have the property management company put in the KPIs. And then my original like spreadsheet, this is also back in the day. This is the back in the day. We project 73%. We purchase for this amount. This is our like unit mix. And so now we have to reconcile this KPI with what we tell our investors. Because we are underperforming, we need to know before we tell our investors. And so the value of having everything on one place is that for the first time, when you have the data in the same system, that's also tracking your assets and tracking the investor communication, then you can compare the pro forma versus the actual. Okay, so I have come to realize that AI is really good at certain things, but what people actually need, or I believe that's what they need, being a syndicator myself, is can I meet my pro forma for my investors? Do I know what's going on in my business? Is the data all in a centralized location that I can use AI and talk to that MCP with all my data and then ask some intelligent questions? The right way to solve for being more efficient at the age of AI is actually a centralized data repository. So the more you can integrate all your data into a central repository, the better. And so to some degree, I actually believe that when Gemini like launch some sort of like MCP, like a query, a AI agent query into your Google Drive, that's when like the Claude and the Open AI of the world is just like, okay, we may have lost. We may have lost. So I don't know. Maybe this video will age very, very badly, but maybe in a couple years you're like, yeah, actually not Claude, not Open AI is the Gemini of the world that actually won because they have your data. Yeah. But we are trying to create a version of Google Drive for the commercial real estate. Okay. Um, but yeah, so that's that. Um, any any comments there? Thanks for staying on very long, but it's anything that you guys got from this fireside chat. I think we stay a little bit too long.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it
thank you,
was
Jeff.
great. Yeah. Um, I have I have one last question from me, but I'll pause to see if anyone else has any other questions.
Hmm.
Sam asks, based on your experience, what's been helpful in raising accuracy, especially in underwriting, accounting, numbers, etc.?
Um, Good question. Um, Outside of using LLMs to talk to each other, that's one way. The second way is to upload as much data as you can. So one of the things I was going to show when the spreadsheet was working was not working was that I also upload my OM and just say, hey, the OM says it was 158 units and you claim it was 160. And originally it was saying it's 160 because there was a duplicate rows. One of them is occupied. One of them is like uh, request to leave. And so they consider those two units as two different units when it's the same unit. So use LMs to cross-reference each other. That's one. And I will also say if you are raising money, my honest opinion is you should um, you should do it by hand before you do the webinar because you don't want to be like, oh, I never did the underwriting, my AI did, and you are raising, tens of millions, and I think ultimately the human is responsible. Yeah. So it's a good first pass, but when you're actually raising money, redo the whole thing using a spreadsheet just to double check the numbers. Yeah, cool. I think we are way over time, but yeah, Ashley, go ahead.
My last question is for somebody, I guess 12 months from now, what is the average, real estate investor still going to be doing manually that they should not be doing?
Oh, I see. 12 months not from now, what's the average thing they are doing that they shouldn't be doing?
Hmm.
Good question. 12 months from now. Um, I I'm not very optimistic that there is a significant my wish list can be replaced by AI. I'm not very optimistic. Like I could say I don't want to read emails. People should summarize to me. I wish I could say AI should respond to emails on my behalf. I wish I could say, like it will automatically put my face on and then do these like videos and so on. But I don't think none of that is true. I wish it could say that like, hey, it can do my chores. That's also not true. I wish it could say it could post on Craigslist. That's not true. I wish it could post on like Facebook Marketplace. That's not true. I wish it could underwrite. That's also not true. I wish it could raise money. That's not true. I wish it can attend conferences. That's not true. Uh, I wish it can do like accounting. That's not true. I wish it can like exercise. That's also not true. Like, what is true that can meaningfully change my life? And like at some point, all of you are like real estate agents and like real estate investors have some sort of financial freedom. In my opinion, I still believe having a executive assistant is better than an AI for almost everything. I think what I don't want to do is if I am lazy and I just want to like do the minimum I can, not the most precise thing I can is like I have 5 syndications and I don't have time to go through all of them. So I will have my asset manager go to them. I will have the transcription that's already saved. It will send to my email. I create a workflow, summarize all of them. Let me pay attention, look at some dashboards, extract some insight, and give me 1 or 2 sentences. But I think what it can give me is like, is the fire burning or is the fire not burning? I think it's more of a sentiment analysis of how X is doing, as opposed to like what I can do to solve it. If it needs my solving it, I think I still need to jump in. I still need to be like understand a little bit deeper as opposed to taking AI's advice. So I think it will be like information triggering, like okay, as there's a it's more like a monitoring, alarm of something is really bad is happening. So I have that already in our business, like new revenue coming in. If the revenue is dipping, certain, yeah, I get an alert. But like you might say that kind of a sentiment may not be extracted very easily because you don't always go on the property management cost for your properties. So that's fair. Yeah. So yeah. So the meeting notes never again. That's at least to be true. Okay. I think you wrote
There's
that. Yeah, I'll
something.
try to
There's
set that.
something.
There's something. Okay,
Thank
fair enough.
God.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think this is exactly what I was looking for is, I just want practical, honest feedback from somebody who's been working intensely in AI. And I think there is a lot of fluff out there. And I mentioned earlier, I think AI is your co-pilot, not your autopilot at this point. And so, it is a little bit of the, you have to experiment or trust but verify before we can actually put our trust into these tools and systems and stuff. But I think it's there. We're at the tip of the iceberg, right? And so I think there's still just a lot of growth and opportunity in this space that we should keep an eye on and be able to leverage down the road. So Perry, thanks for your time today. If people want to follow up with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So you guys can add me on LinkedIn. Um, you can add me on LinkedIn. So I'm gonna put my LinkedIn here. Da, 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 da.
And we'll send a follow-up email with
Yeah,
your.
absolutely. You can add me on LinkedIn. And then if you are interested in the the underwriting model, if you are a agent or a real estate syndicator, if you're doing single families, then this might be an overkill. But if you're doing multifamily with syndications, then here's a link. You guys can schedule a demo with us. If you do schedule a demo for the underwriting, we are happy. We are happy to give you 3 months of underwriting for free. So you can try it out, you can play with it, and then let us know how it goes. Because that is our way of almost giving back. Because we make most of our revenue is on the investor portal side. So underwriting is almost like a magnet to attract the syndicators to come to the platform and try it out. Yeah,
Cool.
cool.
Anita, any last words from you?
No, thanks for sharing all this with us. And I think it's been great to kind of see where the reality is with AI. And I think I shared with Perry earlier some ways that I use it in regards to operations and help using AI to help scrape for in using it as a co-pilot to help scrape for areas where my managers are maybe spending too much or any sort of risks, right? Sort of it sends the red flag, but you have to go and verify. So I think that just confirms that for me. Anyway, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Perry. Super insightful and just a great friend to, supporting, SARE Ladies, and Ashley and I are really appreciative. And thanks for all that you give to this community.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate everyone. All right.
Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. Yes.
Bye-bye.